Welcome to my craft table. Hello, welcome to Jamie's craft table. This is Jamie Magritte. I would like to show you how to do this clean and simple card today. And then there's a little bit more stepped up version. So let's get started. It's a pretty simple card. It does require a little bit of masking, or what I've done is done a little stamp surgery so I don't have to do the masking. Okay, well, welcome. I'm going to be using the First Frost stamp set. I'm going to be using this element, the two flowers, and this little one that looks like a thistle. I think it's supposed to be a bud. And then I'm going to use one of the leaves from this. When I made this card, I actually just inked up the one leaf and then masked, but I actually did stamp surgery and cut the one leaf out just to make it a little bit easier. Don't feel that you have to do that. You can just mask it, and I'll show you how to do that as well, but this is much easier. And it goes back together and stamps beautifully. Let me get a piece of Post-it. And I did have a Post-it here with it stamped on it, but I'm not finding it right this second. Okay, so let's go through what we're going to use besides the stamp pad. For the first version, you can do it directly on the front of your card if you wish. I choose to do it on a layer just because then if I mess up I can turn it over and I have a second chance. It is 4 by 5 1/4. And then we have our card base, which is the standard card base in the United States, which is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Okay. Put that over there for that one. We're going to use Lovely Lipstick, and Old Olive, and Memento. Okay, so let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is bring in this one here. And the Old Olive ink. I'm going to move this out of the way so I have a little bit of room to work. I'm going to ink this up. Don't stamp too hard or you're going to end up with ink all over the edges, and you don't want that. Tap lightly. And we're going to do 4, 2 on each end, and 2 in the top and the bottom, and just rotate it. Like that one, I had the 2 sprigs on this side, so I'm going to turn it around, do it with the 2 sprigs on this side. Okay. Okay, and that's that part. Turn it this way. I'm bringing the large rose. Don't put the green ink over here for a minute. Oh, okay, all over that. Pop open my Lovely Lipstick. We're going to ink up the large rose. We're going to put that here in this bottom, right in the center of the page, but down towards the bottom third. Okay. And we're going to bring in the smaller rose. I think my ink pad's a little bit inky. And I'm going to stamp it up here. Okay, then I'm going to bring in this one that looks like a bud. And I'm just going to try to ink just a little bit right on the rose, on the flower part. And then I'm going to bring in my sponge dauber and ink up the rest of it with the sponge dauber. Okay, and I'm going to stamp that over in this vicinity. Now if you want to make sure you're not going with the stem over your rose, just take a Post-it note or a piece of scratch paper. That way the end of your stem isn't going over your rose. Okay. Then we're going to take our leaf. Let me show you how to do it while it's still attached, just so you know how to do it. Back on here. It's the same sort of idea as that. I just took the ink pad and I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just kind of stamping just that one leaf. It's kind of difficult to do, that's why I did it the other way, and then I took the sponge dauber and finished inking it. Okay, make sure there's no ink on the rest of it, which there is. Then you're going to line it up. This is the hard part, that's why I cut the leaf out of it. And you're going to stamp it down and then move over and stamp it again. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and take it out, and it'll stamp perfect. I'll show you at the end. What did I do with my little block? And I kind of did this wrong because I wanted to put my sentiment down here. It might still fit, but okay. Couple up in here. Couple up in here. I think I'll leave it like that. Okay, now we're going to bring in our sentiment in the Memento ink. It says wishing you all the best. Stamp that up well. Stamp that right down here. We're going to go right over the top of our leaves. Awesome. And then this is going to get mounted on the front of our card. We're just going to use the snail. Center it. There you go, that's all there is to that card. It's very clean and simple. Okay, so let's step it up a notch for the stepped up version. I have a couple layers. Let me get out my sizes so I remember. I have, what did I say this was? I forgot to write this one down. This is 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. Piece of old olive, which is 2 by 2 1/2. 4 by 5 1/4 is this piece, and then this piece is 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have my standard card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, scored and folded at 4 1/4. So let me go ahead and move those out of the aside. We're going to start with this piece and the leaf thing like we did the first time. And we're going to do one at the top, turn it, do one at the bottom, do one on this side. Basically doing the same thing we did as with the other one. On this side. Okay, we'll put that aside to dry. Bring in our little piece. We're going to stamp this one very similar to what we did with the other one. We're going to stamp the large rose down here. A small rose right above it, overlapping just a hair. I'll bring in this one here. And since I have different colored inks on it, I'm going to go ahead and use my dauber for my red as well, because it's easier than washing it. I'd have to wash it off so I didn't get any green ink on my red. Then I'll use the sponge dauber to ink that up. Make sure this isn't overlapping anything here, because I need that stem to be a little bit lower this time. Stamp it down. Okay. Awesome. Now we're going to bring in that leaf and stamp a few leaves in here. Okay. Alright, let's mount this. Let's turn this over so I don't get ink everywhere. I'm going to close up my ink pads except for the black. I'm going to bring this one back in. It's down here at this bottom half. I need to stamp that sentiment. Make sure it's right side up. Checked because it wasn't. Down here at this bottom above the greenery, we're going to stamp the sentiment. Awesome. Put the lid on that. Okay, now we're going to bring in our tape runner. We're going to mount this one onto the green, little green piece. Okay, then we're going to bring in a couple dimensionals. I'm going to try to finish up the edges on this one. Let's put one in each corner. Stick your finger in, get it to lift up if you can. Okay, this is going to go right here in the center of this one. This is going to get mounted on the lovely lipstick piece. Center it up. This one I gave a little bit more of a border to. Alright, and then this is going to get mounted on the front of our card base. Make sure it's right side up. Card's opening the right way. There we go. And we have two very nice cards that we just made. So this is the one I just made with you. Okay, here's the two that I made previous. There you go. Well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I almost forgot to show you, I wanted to show you that you can put them back together and it'll stamp just fine. So I'm putting that piece back in there. I apologize if my head's getting in the way. Excuse me. Get out the green ink. See, you can't even tell that I took it apart. Okay, well, thank you for joining me at Jamie's Craft Table. I hope you have a great rest of your day.